I'm Volkov. Today, I'll be teaching you how variables work in RecRoom. So let me ask you something. Do you know what is and how a RecRoom variable works? Well, even if you have some experience with working with these circuits, or completely brand new, I hope you find this video being helpful, and without further ado, let's begin. So, to describe a variable, it's something that stores/keeps data and information. It could be numbers, text, true or false, a color, and many, many more. Matter of fact, there are 19 amount of fully released variables and 11 beta variables that are still being worked on at the time of this video being produced. The different types of variable circuits that are out right now are separated into 3 groups. Lists. These are variables that store a list of data, and you can tell it's a list variable from the bracket symbols on the outputs. The second category is object. These 2 variables have a player or some sort of object as its data. The last category is primitive. These are variables that are more simple among the others, and usually the types that you yourself would use when you're circuiting. So to find a variable, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to palette at this orange bar at the bottom, go to the circuits category, view more, and you can scroll all the way to the right and you'll find variables. And of course, there's always the option of using the search bar. Alright, to show you how they work, I'm going to be using the integer variable. If you don't change the name and you spawn more in, you'll notice that it goes from no number to 2 to 3 and to 4. One thing to note here is that variables with the same name will have the same value. To change the value, you're going to want to type in this port right here. I'm going to set it to 2 as this example. And all I did to set this value was in tools, I'm using the connect tool. And I just clicked on it, open my watch, and you can change it through here. You can do plus or minus or type in. Alright, so I have 2, but the actual value of the variable hasn't changed yet. To do that, we need to play this execution. Now, you can do this manually by holding down until you see a blue triangle and then letting go. This will play it and set it to 2. Or you could spawn something like a button that will give off a pulse when you click it. I'm going to connect pressed to the port, and when I click it, this line will light up and update the variable. So like I was saying, if the variables have the same name, whatever happens to one value will also happen to the other. But if there were different names, then if I change this value, then this one wouldn't change. If you want to change the properties of the variable, in the tools category, if you click on configure and select the variable, here you can change the name. I'm going to change it to clicks. Once you've changed the name, make sure you hit the submit button or else it won't update. As you can see, the variable changed its name to clicks. If you change the name of the variable and it had a value, just keep in mind that it will reset it back to 0. Alright, now there's a couple other things. Synced. If you turn this on, you'll see a little symbol here. This means synced is turned on. What that does is anything that happens to this variable, it will also happen to other people's variables. It's not local, it will happen to everybody in the game. So let me get a friend in here to show you guys. Alright, default. Hello.
Hello.
Alright, could you hover over this on your side? Are you doing that?
I already am.
Perfect. I want to set it to, let's say 5. It says 0. Does yours say 0?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna play it. What does it say now?
5.
Perfect. Alright, so moving on from that. Next up is cloud variable. One thing you'll notice is when you turn this on, synced will automatically turn off. So just note that you can only have one on at a time. So what cloud variable does is it saves the information that is in it. So if you leave and rejoin, it will still say the number that you were last at. But if it was off and you leave and rejoin, then it will go back to 0. So all it does, it just saves the value that is on it. One thing that's pretty cool is if you do have a cloud variable, and let's say your cloud variable was for a clicker game, and you did a big update, and you want everyone who had an amount of clicks to be reset. So a whole game reset, everyone has a brand new start. If you want to do this, go to this room, settings, and then go to cloud data on the scroll wheel. And then here you can see all of your cloud. Right now I just have clicks, but you can open this up and you can reset the variable for everybody. Also, not that you have to worry, but there is a maximum of 100 variables, but that is super rare that you'll ever have even close to that amount of variables, because they would have to be different kinds of variables. It's okay if you have a clone, it won't count. It's a different named variable. Just know that if you do have your variables in a circuit board, then just know that you are unable to turn on cloud. You can only turn on synced. And also, anything that happens in this variable, even if there is the same variable outside this one and that one, won't affect each other. Because this variable is in this circuit board, it is only sending values that's in the circuit. A really good example to show you what I mean by this is a flip-flop chip. I'm gonna spawn 2. So a flip-flop chip, if I open it up, it uses a bool variable. This stores information true or false. Right now it's on false, which is for both of them. But if I play this and it's true, this one is still false. So even if they have the same name, it won't affect each other because they're in a circuit board. Okay, now that I went over what a variable is, how you can use it, and some of the properties you can change, I'm going to show you an example of a use for it. So here I have all the circuits you need for just a simple button clicker. I have a button, a add chip, our variable, a toString, and a button set text. So we want, every time you click this button, it will add 1 to the variable, and it will show our current value on the button. So when the button is pressed, we're gonna get the current value of our variable, connect that to the add, and we're gonna want to add 1 to that current value. So if our current value was 0 and we add 1, now it'll be 1. And we're gonna connect this to the front of the variable. So every time we click this button, it'll add 1 to its current value and put it in front, so next time we play it, it will add. So now it's 1, play it again, now it's 2, 3, and so on. Okay, now we want it to display on the button. What I'm gonna do, I have this chip called button set text. I'm gonna connect this pulse going there. So after this plays, it will play this button set text. The target will be this button right here. The text I'm going to connect it to this toString. What this toString does is it takes a different kind of information stored and sees if it can converge it into a string, which is like characters, it's like text. So the number 3, it takes that into text. So that is what the button will display. So now let's use it. It works. Perfect. Now, if we wanted it so when you leave and rejoin, it'll still save, I would turn on cloud. If we wanted it where other players can see your score, so you can click the button together with friends, we'd want to turn on synced. If synced was off and I was clicking it, the person next to me wouldn't see my value because it's not synced. It's only happening for me. 2 examples of a variable that might use synced is like in capture the flag. If you or a teammate captures the flag, it will give the point of a captured flag to everybody. The second example for a variable that uses synced is a boss. So for example, I was lost skulls, the boss fight, the health is synced for everybody. Some examples of variables that you would use cloud is, for example, in paintball, every time you get a hit, it would save on the leaderboard, and that uses cloud. So let's say you go to like a bar or a hangout map that has a VIP room, using a bool variable that stores true or false. True if you do own whatever it takes to get into the VIP room, and false if you don't. And it uses cloud to remember you next time you come in. The last example I'll use for cloud is, let's say, a speedrunning game like Stunt Runner. If you get your personal best time, that time will save on the leaderboard, and when you leave and rejoin, it'll remember you by using cloud. That about wraps up the tutorial for how variables work. I hope you learned something. This has been Volkrov, and thanks for watching.